My name is Alex Kostal, and I'm running for Student Association President. I'm currently a sophomore majoring in political science and history.
And I'm Brent Johnson. I'm running for Vice President with my best bud here, Alex Kostal. I'm a business major, and I'm in my second year. We're just here to talk to you about, why we're running and what we think we can accomplish.
Right. I joined the Student Association about a year ago when I got involved in the Senate, and ever since then I've just been hugely passionate about advocacy for students and making the campus better through legislation. Right now I serve as the Public Relations Director, and I'm also a Senator at Large.
I joined the SA last year too. I've worked as the Assistant Legislative Liaison, and my job has been to tackle on-campus issues such as pursuing student suggestions. For example, we've recently gotten more vegan options on campus. That was a direct result of the Student Association opening dialogue between the vegan student org Vive and Restaurant Ops. In addition, we've been pursuing removing food sale caps for student orgs and generally advocating for students in administration.
And the unique thing is, me and Brent, we kind of got together through the Student Association and started to realize that although our national politics may differ in some regards, when it comes to student politics, we agree almost 100% of the time.
Oh, absolutely.
We are running under the ASAP party, which stands for Achieving Student Action Through Progress. And ASAP has been around for a long time, and it has a very good track record of promoting advocacy for students and progressive legislation pretty much in all aspects of campus life.
Just this last year, ASAP has really turned things around with the Student Association by adding diversity, transparency, and advocacy for all students. We'd like to take the ASAP party and do something better with it.
Yeah, there's so many things that we worked on this year that I feel we got to start to do. And I mean, it's going to be important to kind of follow through with that progress again into next year and making sure that a lot of the things that we fought for continue to be built upon in the next upcoming year. And that's pretty much why I'm running. There was a lot of initiatives that we worked on.
For example, parking spaces. We want to pursue more of those, and we're really working with this year's administration to kind of set up a nice transition so that we can take it off running as soon as we get in next year.
Yeah, our party platform, it's pretty long, but basically we have specific issues that we want to see tackled especially. A big one is improving life for registered student organizations on campus, and a big part of that is Greeks.
Absolutely. Greek life is one of our first priorities. I myself am a member of Phi Sigma Kappa, one of the oldest Greek life organizations here on campus. And one of the big problems with fundraising opportunities for the Greeks has been, and this is true for all student organizations, has been having a limit to how many food sales can take place, for example, in Spates Plaza throughout the year. Well, this year, Alex and myself have worked to remove the food sale cap limit so that Spates Plaza can have as many organizations that want to sell there as they can. There's no limit. Each organization can sell 3 times per semester to fundraise. But other than that, there's no limit to how many times you can fundraise out in Spates Plaza.
Yeah, and a big part of it, too, and a problem that's been around here in Milwaukee for a long time, has been the housing letters ban. And that kind of stems from the overall ban on having 4 unrelated people or more in your house at a time, something Madison doesn't have, and it kind of has crippled the ability for Greek life to expand here on campus. And I know, Brent, you've looked at the actual city codes.
Absolutely. There's a bit of a, as Alex mentioned, a rule preventing people from, at city ordinance, preventing more than 3 unrelated people from living together. It's an ancient rule, but it's been used by neighborhood residents that don't exactly agree with the students to prevent Greek houses from popping up. And Greek life can really contribute to campus. In addition to the housing rule, we plan on lobbying our local aldermen to remove the supposedly existent ban on Greek letters or public signs.
Yeah, I don't see the problem in that, and I feel like if we win the election, we're just able to kind of come from a higher standpoint and be like, there's no reason for this rule. I mean, it's one of those ridiculous policies that the university or the city might have. Somebody probably came up with it a long time ago as a way of just cutting down on Greek life, which we believe is an important part of the entire campus experience. In addition to that, we also have a pretty comprehensive plan for SAC reform, which is the Senate Appropriations Committee that funds travel budgets, programming budgets, operations budgets for the registered student organizations in general.
Yeah, you've worked more on the SAC thing than I have.
All right, well, I'll go into it a little bit. Pretty much this year, SAC had more money than they've ever had before. And even though we had more money than we worked with, the funding levels were not satisfactory for a lot of student orgs on campus. we saw student orgs getting allocated money in the meeting, but never actually receiving that money at all. And a big part of that is the fact that, as the years go by, more and more student orgs are created and ultimately will ask for funding. But there needs to be a more efficient way of funding the student orgs. ASAP believes that by moving club sports over to the SFC funded module, we can free up more money for RSOs in general.
Now, the SFC funded module would allow club sports, which are a very contributing part of our campus life, to be directly funded by the Senate Finance Committee, which funds big departments such as the Office of Student Life and Athletics.
Or Women's Resource Center, LGBT Resource Center.
And SAC itself. So by moving them over to get separately funded, we can allow for more money to go into both categories.
Yeah, pretty much by removing club sports from the SAC funding module, we're freeing up money. But there are not better, but there are more efficient ways that we can improve SAC even more. Another way that we were thinking about kind of making things work a little better are by having what would be speaker caps per semester. So, for instance, the same org couldn't receive 3 big-time speaker events or go on multiple trips or receive more than a certain amount of money per semester. Because what we're seeing is a lot of the more well-organized orgs are receiving the majority of the funding. They have members who have taken part in the funding process before. They're familiar with the way that it works. Some of them are on SAC themselves. And we're seeing the same orgs get funding over and over, which is good.
But it decreases the net benefit to the community, the campus community specifically.
Right.
An org that is allowed to travel to Las Vegas for a convention, for example, 3 times a year, doesn't benefit as many people as, say, a vegan student organization that holds a cooking class.
Exactly.
It's open to anybody.
Now, sustainability is something that ASAP also is going to work hard next year to kind of bring to fruition. UWM has a decent amount of sustainable policies, something like the greening of South Tower in Sandburg, or the things on Bolton Hall, the
solar panels?
Solar panels, exactly. But we want to actually take a step forward and do that in a more legitimate way by creating an environmental committee, employing a chair, somebody to come up with concrete ideas to kind of further environmental sustainability here on campus. I know, Brent, you've been working a lot with the composting.
And in fact, the environmental committee that ASAP is proposing would work directly with student organizations such as Act Everywhere, who've been pursuing composting actively on campus. Pretty soon we'll see composting bins around the union as a result of Act Everywhere's progress and talks hosted by the SA with restaurant operations.
The composting bins are a great way to kind of start to build on a theory of, putting out less waste and saving more resources. I think we all know that the union itself is a very porous and, it lets out tons of air and energy, and it's not maybe the most sustainable building, but we'll be looking into ways to improve that next year.
Perhaps making it LEED certified, or, generally clogging holes where there shouldn't be any.
Now, ASAP's platform this year is a little different than it was before. We want to continue to build upon the same things we accomplished, except our overview is a little different. We've sort of organized our platform around 3 main goals.
Renew, transform, and progress.
Exactly. And these are more than just catchwords. They represent our commitment to improving this campus. We want to renew student life, Panther pride, the ability for students to want to go to UWM each day instead of leaving on the weekends or trying to get home as soon as possible.
We want to kind of remove the commuter image of our campus.
Exactly. We want to transform the policies of the Student Association and of the university as a whole. Make them more student-friendly. There's so many things at this university that are in place that are kind of a burden to students, and people don't really know why. We want to make sure the Student Association can legislate actively and make sure that things that don't really have a place in the current policy system get removed.
Absolutely.
The library ban on checking out journals and magazines like that is an example of something like that we've removed this year. No one really knew why it was in place, but we got rid of it through legislation. Now undergraduate students can check out scholarly journals, magazines, that type of thing.
And we'll do the same with the K2 ban, the Greek housing ban, and the Greek letter ban.
Now, the final catchword is renew. We want to kind of renew the general idea of UWM.
The final tagline of the ASAP party this year is going to be progress. We want to take the university and move it into the new century,
Exactly.
which is kind of old now.
Now, we're caught between 2 UWMs at the current point. There's the commuter school, which people have been going to for decades. They're used to coming to the campus, taking their classes, and then leaving on the weekend, going back to their hometowns. But we kind of have something new going on, and we saw that a lot when the dorms were built. Now there's finally, for the first time in our school's history, more dorms than there are people requesting them. Our campus is changing, frankly, and we have to make sure that the rest of the campus can keep up with this new image UWM has. And if we're elected to the Student Association, we are definitely going to take a stab at it.